Hey guys, what's up? This is JRP77 from JGN Games. I'm going to be continuing my tutorial series on the Blender modifiers. Now in the last one we learned about the cast modifier, which allows you to manipulate an object's vertices based on a point in 3D space. In this one we're going to be covering the most popular to form modifier, and I'm also going to be showing you how I've used this in my modeling, I guess you could call it a career. So yeah. But before we get started, don't forget to check out our website. There will be a link in the description as well as an annotation if I remember to put them on there. I know I haven't remembered to put them on there, but I'm going to try to remember. So yeah, there's going to be the annotation up there, link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe. If you subscribe, you won't miss a tutorial, and I know it's easy to miss a tutorial. Now, I'm going to have them coming out every Wednesday, so unless something changes, and then I'll notify you guys. So the next tutorial will come out next Wednesday. Alright? And then don't forget to follow us on social media. Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. Instagram is at JGN_games. Twitter is at JGN Games. And Google+ is JGN Games. So without further ado, let's get started. So, the curve modifier is one of my favorite modifiers. But there's also a misconception about one modifier that I want to throw out there. The first modifier we did, the array modifier, has a fit type called fit curve. I personally think that you should not use this because it fits itself to the entire curve and you don't have as much control over the wire as I would like. So I'm just going to throw that out there. We will be using this modifier in a minute, but first I'm just going to explain the curve modifier. So the curve modifier requires, yes, you guessed it, a curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Shift A. Also, I'm always in lowercase, so whenever you see something like that, if it's a capital A, it will be, because that's the normal A, and then Shift A will always be the capital A. Just want to throw that out there so that you guys know what keywords, because my keycaster doesn't do Shift as a command for some reason. Alright, so now I'm just going to go to Add Curve, Path. Now this is the most basic of the paths. You can use circles, but I personally like using the path. So let's just add some stuff to this, but this is pretty boring right now. I mean, this is just a path. I mean, it's not curved or anything. Well, we can actually fix that by hitting Tab, and now we're in edit mode. So now we're editing the vertices of the path. I'm going to hit Tab again. I'm going to rotate it on the Z axis of 90 degrees, and then I'm going to, I'm going to move this one up and to the right. I'm going to move this one to the right. I'm going to hit 7 so I can see it better. I'm going to move this one like that. I'm just going to move this one like that. I'm going to move the back one down. That's not as much of a curve as I want to, so I'm going to move this one back over here. This one right here. Can you rotate them? No, you cannot rotate them. You cannot rotate single vertices. So now, what does this accomplish for us? Well, if we go and we hit tab, we tab out of there, so we can go back into object mode, and we click on our cube, and we go to add modifier curve, and we select the nerve's path, you'll notice that if I click the X arrow and move it along right there, it goes around the curve. This has always been one of those modifiers that has been really weird. You kind of get used to it, but I mean, you can see it's kind of following the curve. One thing I've noticed that if you delete it and you position it like on the curve, it helps a little bit. So now you can see, and you'll notice that the reason this isn't working is because the path goes this way on the y-axis, but the cube is moving on the x-axis, so that's never going to work. So we change this to y, and then we pull it along. Is it the x? Yes, it's the x. You always use the x-axis to pull it across. Then you can start pulling the cube. So that's a nice little thing to know. We can even animate this. If we hit I location and we jump forward 30 frames and we just move it to the end of the curve and we hit I location again, you can animate the curve, and it has the vertices and everything. And you can see that it's got all the vertices. It's actually moving around, and it looks really good. It would look better, though, if it had a few more vertices. So I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm going to subdivide it 3 times. Now if I go back, and I hit play, you'll see I'm going to scrub through frame by frame until I find a good one with the curve. So now you'll see that it's more round. And that's always, I'm going to hit subdivide one more time so that I can do smooth shading. And now that could look like something really good. You could use that to deform. I've used this curve modifier used in so many different ways. It's so cool. I think it was someone, they used it to animate like a liquid. For some reason, like they didn't use the fluid simulator. They used a curve modifier to simulate something. It was for like a game or something, and it was like for stuff to pop up out, and it was really cool. I need to, if I find a video of it, I'll send it to you guys. I think Fireproof Studios did it. I don't remember. So now that we've got that, I'm going to delete these keyframes by just hitting Command Z a ton until I get out of these keyframes. There. So now that I'm out of the keyframes, you can see that I've also managed to unsubdivide it, but that doesn't matter. So now, how do you use this in a modeling? Because I've shown you animation. How do you use this in modeling? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm going to start over with a new project, and I'm going to delete the cube, and I'm going to add in the monkey. Now, you can use this for so many things. I'm going to be using this as like a wire, but let's just go ahead and make Suzanne some headphones. So I'm going to hit Shift A, cylinder, and I'm going to shrink this down to 0.05 because that was good for wires. And I'm going to put that right there. I'm also and I'm just going to, just have it like that. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hit 1 and 5, and I'm going to move it across the head. By the way, this is the mascot of Blender, and her name is Suzanne. That is the official name. Alright, so now that we've got this, we need a curve modifier. So let's make a curve real quick. I'm going to hit 1 again. Whoops. I'm going to hit Shift A, curve, path. It'll give us this. I'm going to hit Tab, and I'm going, whoops. I need to grab on the Z axis only. And then I'm going to grab this modifier right there. And I'm just going to move this, whoops. If you grab it like this, you can actually mess up your curve a ton. It's so tricky to get it right. But once you do, it looks good. Alright, so now we've got this. I actually don't need the second one, I remember. So I'm going to go here, and on this last point down here, I'm going to hit extrude, and that doesn't do anything. So just remember, you can't extrude these. Sadly, I think you can do loop cuts. No, you can't do loop cuts. So that's one disadvantage of the path. You cannot do add vertices. So if there is a way, please tell me. I would really like to know that. So now let's get rid of this one right here. And now on this one, we're going to add an array modifier. Now, we don't want it to be like that. We want it to go on the Z axis. So I'm going to set this from relative from 1 on the top to 1 on the bottom one. And you'll get used to it. It might even, it needs to be -1. So it goes down like that. Now, let's add a curve. So I'm going to go to curve. And then on this curve modifier, I'm going to select the nerve's path. Now you'll see, this is one of those things you kind of have to play around with to get right. But once you get it right, it's so helpful. You can move these up and down, and just to confirm, this is the array modifier on top. So now we know that it's going down on the Z, so I'm going to hit Z. And now you'll see that it actually looks good. It looks like that. And the reason I suggest doing this is because now you can just increase the count, and then if you drag along the, is it the X this time or the Z? It's the Z. It's so weird, but you can, I'm going to just drag these down until I fit the entire curve. I'm just going to do like that so I can just, perfect. So that's one way to create wires, and you'll see that's also off, and that's because it's off on the y-axis. And you can't really move it in, so you kind of got to move the curve, and then you got to resize it and stuff, but you get used to it. It's one of those things where once you get it right, you figure it out. Not -Z, my bad. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys the fit curve one, and I'm going to hide that for now, and I'm just going to go to curve. And I personally don't like this because I mean, I just added it and it didn't work whatsoever. I mean, like, I see no change whatsoever. It's because I don't know why, I just don't like it. So I'm going to go to fix count again, turn this back on, and now you'll see that that actually works. And so there's a few ways you can get around that problem. You can move your object forward. And one of the nice things about using arrays is you get that start cap, end cap. So I'm going to add a sphere. Whoops. Shift A, sphere. Oh, let's use a cone. And I'm going to scale it down to 0.05 so it fits. And I'm going to go in here. For those of you who didn't know what start cap, end cap was, it is basically just takes your array, and at the very end of the array, it adds something at the end. It adds the object to the end. I'm actually going to have to duplicate that cone I just made. Now I'm going to have to rotate it on the X 90 degrees. 180 actually. So now if I go to in here and I hit cone 2, oh well. It doesn't matter. So now, I mean, you could even use Suzanne as your end cap if you want to. It doesn't take away from the object. So yeah, that's how you can use the curve modifier in modeling. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to hear more about the cast modifier, there will be an annotation down there. If there's no annotation, just go to our channel, and it's going to be the previous upload besides this one. New tutorial will come out next Wednesday, hopefully. If I don't have any conflicts, I will post something on social media if I do have a conflict, so just be sure to watch for that. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.